Good morning, everyone. Hello, I hope you're well. It's March what date is today? March 16th. So we're heading towards what's called spring. So some people say spring starts on March the 1st, but other people say that the technical date of it is March the 20th, and that's when spring officially starts. But there's signs of spring everywhere. It's starting already. So I've got a few questions I want to ask you. I'm just going to get out of the way. There we go. And let's pop that up. So my question for you today, to begin with, is what do you like about spring? I've got some lovely pictures here. So we've got some daffodils. They're a sign of spring. We're starting to see those in lots of different places. The blossom in Japan, they have a whole festival based on cherry blossom, which is in the spring, and you can see some cherry blossom there. I've done an assembly. I talked about these in assembly before in the book called Tad, some tadpoles, and I know that Reception have got some tadpoles, which I've been keeping an eye on. Bumblebees, you'll start to see bumblebees around. At the moment, you'll probably only see queens. They're the really big ones, and they'll be flying low to the ground, probably looking for a nest site. And generally, the weather gets better. It's a bit changeable today. It was nice yesterday, but you do have showers. But you have, when the sun comes out, it's quite sunny. And the birds are particularly busy at the moment, collecting things for their nests. Anyway, what do you like about spring? Well, to hopefully help you understand the spring a bit more, I'm going to read a book today. Here it is. It's by Sean Taylor. Sean Taylor's a friend of our school because he came to visit us. And he did a fantastic workshop with some of our children. So this is his book, Busy Spring, Nature Wakes Up. It's by Sean Taylor, Alex Morse, and it's illustrated by Sydney Chu. And the illustrations are great. So let's get into the book. Here we go. And then we have the end papers, and here we have the title page. It says, Busy Spring, Nature Wakes Up. It's in memory of my grandfather, Everard Tyning, who left a garden which was a playground for me in the spring. And that's what Sean Taylor said. For Emily and Lola, for adding joy to every spring symphony, with all my love, AM, and to all those looking forward to a fresh start. So those are all those what those people think of this, who these people have dedicated the book to. In the winter-time, the garden felt quiet and grey, and it looked like it was sleeping. Then one morning, Dad was wearing his jumper with a hole in. That meant it was a good day for going outside to do gardening. Why do you think Dad wears a jumper with a hole in? What does that signify, maybe? And it was. I went. So did my little sister Jasmine. The garden was bright, the birds were singing, hopping and pecking. A big bee flew in a hurry. Everything smelled like wet earth and sunshine. It's warm, said Jasmine. Dad nodded. It's spring. Dad told us he had digging to do, and we could carry things to the compost heap, then help plant carrots. He said, let's see where I left the fork. Let's see, said Jasmine. She splashed through a puddle. Birds flew up and carried on chattering in the trees. The birds are all busy, I said. Dad told us. Everything's busy. The plants are busy, the animals are busy. Spring's a busy time. Jasmine shouted, Busy spring! And she's leapt in a puddle as well. Dad brushed his hand through flowers as tall as Jasmine. Bees and bugs and flies zoomed out. He told us, the spring sunlight is nature's alarm clock. Life's waking up. Plants are racing to get more light. Some grow high, and then the wind scatters pollen from their flowers. Some paint themselves brilliant colours to attract insects. Jasmine put her face in some flowers. They made her sneeze. You're not a bumblebee, I told her, laughing, but she ran around going buzz, 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 buzz. Jasmine buzzed round the pond. There are tadpoles, she shouted. Dad said, do you know tadpoles turn into butterflies? I told him, they turn into frogs. Oh yes, laughed Dad. That's right, frogs make too many babies to count. The fastest and luckiest tadpoles grow big and strong. And then they become frogs. You'll hear them croaking spring songs. Can you jump like a frog? I asked Jasmine. No, she said, but I can fly like a flutterby. It's great, you can see in the pond there's quite a lot of exciting life in that pond. Down here we've got a newt. That's a special sort of newt called a great crested newt. And we have some great diving beetles as well. A frog, and there's some frog spawn. And there's some tadpoles in amongst the frog spawn over here. What a great pond. Jasmine fluttered away and fluttered back. Birds swooped like they were playing too. One stopped on a branch. I said, "She's eating a twig." "She's not eating it," said Dad. "There are lots of tasty caterpillars around for her to eat. She's collecting twigs to make a nest, and soon there'll be newborn chicks up there." "Cheepy, cheepy," sang Jasmine. "Cheep, cheep, cheep." It didn't sound quite like the birds, but it sounded happy, like them. We still hadn't found Dad's fork. It wasn't by the shed, but the hole where the fox lived was, and Jasmine peeked down. "Is the fox inside?" I asked. Dad nodded. "Yeah, and she'll have fox cubs by now." "Little fox cubs," Jasmine called. "Come and play." "They just want to be with their mum for now," whispered Dad, "but they'll soon be playing games in the spring sunshine." "What games?" I asked. "Rolling and bouncing," said Dad, "and chasing and pouncing." Then he chased us, like we were foxes. I ran behind the compost heap. "Dad," I shouted, "here's your fork." Dad came to get it. "Who lives in there?" Jasmine asked. Dad rolled back a log with the fork. "Hedgehogs like sleeping in the compost in winter," he said, "and insects love it now it's spring. There were rushing ants and wood lice, there were worms and a shiny beetle. Those are nature's recyclers," Dad told us. "They're working hard, eating up all the dead things." I spotted a caterpillar next to the compost heap. "Look," I pointed. "Spring's all around us," smiled Dad. "Everything's growing, feeding and making new life. That caterpillar was an egg a few days ago. Now she's eating and eating. Next she'll wrap herself up in a cocoon. Then she'll change into a butterfly and find a mate." "Yes," I said. "Tadpoles become frogs and caterpillars become butterflies." Dad looked at Jasmine and asked, "Can you become a butterfly again?" "No," she said, "but I can become a frog." And off she hopped. "It might rain in a bit," called Dad. "And we came out to do something else, didn't we?" "Digging," I said. "And planting carrots," Jasmine told him. "That's right," said Dad. "Come on." So we did. Birds sang along, petals came dancing down, and we got busy. Like everybody else is getting busy. So that's the story. There's one more page I want to share with you because it's just a bit more about spring. Sorry, so I'll just get out of the way. So this last page just explains what spring is. Spring sunshine is nature's alarm clock, telling wildlife to wake up after winter. You can see, hear and smell the signs of new life as the season arrives with a rush of energy. Darkness is chased away earlier each morning. Crisp, cold air becomes milder. Warm winds blow in. Ice melts. Rivers swell. Stormy showers and morning dew bring fresh water. These seasonal changes beckon animals and plants to leave winter behind and get busy. The sun and the way Earth circles it gives us the seasons. For half of the year, the south of our planet tilts towards the sun. For the other half of the year, the north of our planet tilts closer. Where Earth leans closer to the sun, the days grow longer and warmer. This brings the brighter and sometimes wetter days of spring. So it's amazing that the sun, something that's 93 million miles away, that's the thing that gives us the seasons. And it's not just the sun, but it's the way that our planet is tilted. And so our planet goes around the sun, but the way that it's tilted means that some parts of the year, different parts of the Earth are further away from the sun, so they're a little bit colder. And then at other times, they're tilted closer, so they're a little bit warmer. And that gives us our seasons. Quite amazing, isn't it? That's why that in New Zealand at the moment, we're going into spring, but they're going into the opposite of spring, which is autumn. So they'll be going into the autumn, and when it's our summer, it'll be their winter. It's all flip-flopped and the other way around. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed the story today. I hope you enjoy spring. My final question to you is, how do things change in spring? So hopefully you've learned something in the assembly. If not, go back and watch it again and you can pick up the things and see if you can pick out some things that do change and what's changed. I know that my mood is definitely changing at the moment. I'm feeling a lot happier now there's some warm sun I can feel on my skin. Okay, well, have a lovely day, and I'll see you around school. Take care. Bye.